Hi, how are you doing? This is a complete course on Python one-liners, and let's see what all the things we can see in this course. We'll discuss what Python one-liners are and what are the different methods of writing Python one-liners. So you can write Python one-liners by using different constructs of Python. So we will see what all those constructs. We'll also see some examples of Python one-liners here, and then we'll get into the complete list of Python onliners and how to write them and how they work. And definitely we'll look at the benefits of writing Python onliners. Python onliners give you a sense of satisfaction and understanding about the Python language itself and many other benefits as well. So let's look at the benefits of Python onliners, and also we'll understand what all different precautions you have to take while writing Python one-liners. So let's look at all these things and go one by one. Let's get started straight away. What is a Python one-liner? It's a Python program that is packed in one line to perform a specific task. To accomplish a specific task, you write a Python program in just one line. That is a Python one-liner. And there are other languages where you can write Python. There are other languages where you can write one-liners in C++, in Java, and in C# as well. But Python is kind of iconic in the one-liners because you have a lot of constructs that help us to write or pack the thought in one line. What all the ways in which you can write Python one-liners? So I have detailed some of these ways of how to write Python one-liners, but these are not the complete list. I have given some examples over here. You can write Python one-liners by using multiple assignments, by using slicing, by using the related functions of map, filter, and reduce. And list comprehension is a very famous way of writing Python one-liners, which also uses lambda function. And there are many other ways of accomplishing the task of writing Python one-liners. So the idea is, using these constructs, you have to bring your thought of a task within one line. And these are some of the ways of doing this. What can be a typical example for a one-liner? For example, if you want to swap two variables, you can use the concept of multiple assignments in Python. X comma y is equal to y comma x. So here you swap the variables of x and y in a single line. So this is a typical one-liner. Now I'm using a list comprehension here to find the square of numbers from 1 to 10. So you can see there is a list comprehension num star num for num in the range of 1 to 11. So because you have 1 to 11, we'll go up to 1 to 10. Num star num for num in the range of 1 to 11, which prints the square of the numbers from 1 to 10. Suppose you want to print only the even numbers from 1 to 20, you can write for num in the range of 1 to 21, and if x mod 2 double equal to 0. So here we have a list comprehension which contains a for loop as well as a if loop for checking the condition. So you can see that I'm using the concept of list comprehension with a for loop first and then a for loop and a if loop to accomplish the task of printing only the even numbers. So these are some of the preliminary examples. So as we go on, we will see complex examples. Now, what do we get? Sometimes, we understand that Python one-liners are very cryptic. They're not good for readability. And we get a lot of negative comments about Python one-liners. But there are a lot of benefits of writing Python one-liners. So if you can write good Python one-liners, it helps our understanding of the Python language itself. It helps to improve our understanding of the Python language, because if you can construct your thought in a single line of Python code, then you kind of understand the feature of Python that is used to implement that. And Python one-liners are as powerful as a very long program, that probably 5 or 6 line program you write in C++ and Java. Or even in Python, some of the 5 or 6 line program can be constructed in a single line, and the code is very concise and you are able to bring your thought in a single line, and you will be able to understand more complex third-party code. If you can understand the little complexity that exists within a single line of Python one-liner, then you will be able to understand more complex third-party code, client code, or other people's code, because you have seen through some of the complexity of the Python one-liner. So if you can understand the tricky nature of the Python one-liners, you are in a better position to understand third-party code and client code. So don't you think so that you will be able to read the client code better if you understand Python one-liners? You will be able to use very rare Python libraries like 3D graphics such as Seaborn, such as typical data science and machine learning libraries such as stats models, or even matplotlib. So with those graphics libraries and data science libraries, you can, if you're writing Python one-liners, you get to know about some of these libraries as well, and you can write Pythonic code. And this is true especially if you are coming from the background of C# or Java. Then if you understand Python one-liners, you kind of understand the writing Pythonic code. Because one of the things that I've seen with developers is when they come to Python, they write a program in Python just like they would write in C or C++. Okay, but they are good languages as well, but each language has a unique feature of its own, and you have to use that particular language's feature in order to so you should use the native features of that language. So, and that kind of code is what is Pythonic. So every symbol, every comma, every full stop counts in a one-liner, right? And we are able to think very clearly and write the program in a concise manner if you know how to write Python one-liners. Your thinking becomes clear, right? These are the benefits of Python one-liners, right? But you should take care. I'm not saying they're drawbacks, but these are some of the things that you should take care when writing Python one-liners. You need to write with the clear goal in mind, right? If you don't take care, if you don't think about how the other people read your code and then write the Python one-liners, then the code becomes unmaintainable, right? It's difficult to maintain one-liners if you're not taken care to write them. And don't force yourself to write Python one-liners all the time. Okay, otherwise it becomes confusing. You cannot you have to write Python one-liners without sacrificing the code readability. So readability is supreme, right? You cannot sacrifice readability for the sake of writing Python one-liners. And finally, we have to understand that debugging Python online code is somewhat tricky and it becomes tough. So you have to make so this is always a trade-off, right? So it becomes slightly difficult to debug the code if you're writing one-liners. But this much care you have to take in writing Python one-liners. So we have seen what is a Python one-liner, and how are you going to write Python one-liners? What are the different ways? What are the different constructs of Python language which are useful in writing one-liners? We have seen some simple examples over here, and I've also said what are the benefits of writing Python one-liners and what care you should take while writing Python one-liners. So having seen this introduction to Python one-liners, let's get into writing some of the easy and complex Python one-liners. One of the easiest one-liners that you can find is to swap the variables of x and y. People who are coming from C and Java programming languages might recall the use of the temp variable. But here you see, you just say x comma y is equal to y comma x, and then the variable gets swapped. As you can see, the x variable has become 30 and the y variable has become 10. The very simple of the Python one-liners is to swap the two variables. Now let's look at a Python one-liner using the slice. So here I've given a iterable or a list of numbers. So this takes the numbers starting from 1 till 4, right? And then it takes subsequent numbers. So the last third variable of the slice is 1. So as you can see, it starts from 20, 0, 1, 0th index is 10, and 5th index is 60. So it stops one before the 5th index and it stops at 50. So, and then it jumps by one variable, which is it prints the successive numbers. If you put a 2 here, this one-liner produces the subsequent numbers. It skips one number and then prints the number. This is a very simple example using the slice notation to print the elements of an iterable. Starting from whatever element you need, you can print up to a particular destination. This is a very simple example for printing the variables in an iterable. Now, this is a very often used Pythonic code, a one-liner for reversing a given string. This is a very famous Pythonic one-liner. So where you are again using slicing, and I'm giving the value of the string, and you can see that it reverses that. So if you are giving a palindrome, so it reverses this as well. So you can also check if the given string is a palindrome by using this construct. So this is a very convenient, useful one-liner to reverse the given string, right? So this is another example for a Python one-liner. Now let's look at something little more complex. If you want to print the powers of a number, if you want to print the square of a number, which is power of 2. So I want to print the square of numbers from 1 to 10. I can very easily do it with list comprehension, which is one of the very famous ways of writing Python one-liners. You may recall that list comprehension is one of the interesting ways of Python one-liners that we said in the beginning. So here you can see that I'm having this num star num, and then you have range that is generated from 1 up to 10. So this is a very interesting one-liner, and you can also do it this way, that you can say num double star of 2, and this also produces so this is the number which is generated by this for, and this number, the double star stands for the exponential notation, and the number power 2. So if you had not used a Python one-liner and used a regular for loop for doing this, so probably you would have done like this. You create a new list and then go through a for loop and append it to a new list and then print the new list. So this is an easier way of doing the same thing. It's more Pythonic, it's more concise, and for some people it's more readable as well. I hope you are able to understand the idea behind the Python one-liner by using the list comprehension. The other interesting program we all discuss for a Python one-liner is how do we remove duplicates that we give in the given string, right? We want to remove the duplicates that we give in the given string. We give some strings here, there, it, there, it, here. So I gave 6 strings, and all of them are duplicates. So because there is a uppercase and a lowercase letter, it has taken the 2 ones. So if I give I'm giving the 6 strings, out of that it has removed all the duplicates and it has given us the actual strings. So you can use this for removing the duplicate strings that you give as an input. Now the way it works is, first the input is received through this input statement, and then whenever there is a space, because the default value for the split is a space, whenever there is a space, this split statement takes each of them as a separate string, right? Each of them as a separate string, and then the input is taken and it is converted as a set. Once it is converting as a set, right? Once it is converting as a set, it removes all the duplicates, and then you need a list to use the join statement. So as you can see, you have the list. So you convert that set into a list. The reason why we are using a set is set automatically removes the duplicates from the input strings, right? It will automatically remove from the input strings. Now if you gave numbers, it would have also worked with numbers as well. Only thing is each number would have been considered as a string. So now I'm giving numbers, as you can see. So I have 267s, 245s and 27s. So it has removed the duplicates and I got a 6 unique numbers. And this whole thing is now a string because I have used join to take each string or the number from the list and then join with an empty character, and then the whole thing becomes a string. So I hope you are able to understand this one-liner. So given the numbers, it is actually taking each number by using the split function. It splits the whole thing into numbers and then it converts it into a set. There the duplicates are removed. Once you got the set, then it is converted into a list, and then we use the string join statement, which is a built-in statement that comes along with a string data type. So we use that to take out the duplicates and then print it as a string. So I hope you understood this interesting one-liner which removes the duplicate strings as well as the duplicate numbers. So here I am having the different companies that are listed in the exchange. There are listed companies that are listed in US stock exchange, and then I print the stocks in one line. So you can also have some logic. If the value of the stocks is greater than 175, print all those stocks. If the value of the stocks is less than 175, you print all those stocks. So we can have this display of stocks with some logic. So if you used, so these are the different companies: HP, Microsoft, Accenture, Apple. So I've used the name of the company as the key and the price of the stock as the value. So I have used a dictionary here, and I've got a empty dictionary, and then whichever stocks are greater than $175, I have appended it to the top stock. I have appended it to the top stocks, and then I have printed the top stocks. So as you can see here, there is so many lines are involved in printing the stocks that are greater than $175. But you can do this in one line by using this statement. Now let's look at this. So the top stocks which are greater than $175 are Microsoft 234 and Accenture 263. So these are just imaginary values. These are not exact values. So you can see them printed here. But if you want to do the same thing as a Python one-liner, you can use this list comprehension, right? For stocks.items actually gets you both the key as well as the value. So if you use this function stocks.items, so k, the first variable stores the key and the second variable stores the value. So you can use k comma v for k comma v in stocks items. So this is a beautiful construct for printing the stocks that are above a particular value, right? This is very interesting. As you can see, the same answer that we got in 5 lines of code, we have got in a single line of code. Similarly, we can also print the stock items that are less than $175. So that's also easily available for you. So as you can see, the stock price based on that is available for us. Now let's find the sum of numbers in a sequence by using the reduce function one-liner. Now this is a very interesting one-liner. We are going to see how to find the sum of n numbers by using a one-liner. I'll also explain how the reduce function works and how the one-liner works. In fact, if you understand how the reduce function work here, you will probably also understand how the one-liner works. So here x contains the accumulated value and y contains the next iterable. So in a reduce function, usually what happens is the x contains the accumulated value, right? And the initial value of x will be the first element in the iterable. So x becomes 1, right? X becomes 1, and then y takes 2. So 1 plus 2 becomes 3, and 3 is stored in x. Then y takes 3, 3 plus 3 is 6, and 6 is stored in x. Then y takes 4, x plus y is 10, 10 is stored in x, and y takes 5, and 10 plus 5 is 15, and it is stored in x. So that's what finally comes to u, which is 15. So it's the sum of n numbers in the sequence, which is n into n plus 1 by 2. 5 into 6 by 2 is 30. 30 by 2 is 15. So you can also do like this. See, the other thing which is important here is if you use the initial value as 0, right? For example, if I used initial value of 0 here, let's say I used, so this is the closing braces for the reduce. So I used initial value of 0. So that 0 will be taken as the initial value of x. Actually, it will be placed before the first item of the iterable, and that will be considered as the first value of x. So there won't be any change in the answer. But if I placed 1 here, so the answer would be 16, because the initial value will be taken as 1. So this 1 will be placed before this 1 here, and the 1 will be taken as the initial value of x. So please understand, if you give an initial value, it is considered to be the initial value of the accumulated variable x. If I give 2, the sum will be 17. So if I didn't give any initial value, what that means is it will take the first variable in the iterable as the initial value for x, and then the next variable in the iterable goes to y. So then 1 plus 2 is 3, and 3 goes to x, and then the next value is 3, which goes to y. So 3 plus 3 is 6, 6 goes to x, and so on. So when there is an initial variable, you can give it after the iterable, and that is taken as the initial variable for the first variable in the lambda. So this is sum of numbers in a sequence. If I run it again, the sum of first n numbers in the sequence is n into n plus 1 by 2, which is 15 for the first 5 numbers. Now, if you want to use the same thing, you can use the same idea of the reduce function for the factorial as well. This is the small program. Instead of plus, I am using the star here, which is for multiplication. Now I have this range. Now if you think about it, the first value in the range will be 1, and 1 will be taken as the variable for x. Now so the input is also given with the same line. So I'm giving 5 as the input. So it will go till, so actually the range goes till input plus 1. So I'll be taking 6 here. So the range will go up to 1 to 5. So 1 to 5, the factorial will be 120. The first variable 1 will go to x, and then the next value in the iterable, which is 2, will go to y. So 1 into 2 will be 2, and the 2 is stored in x. The next variable in the iterable is 3. 3 goes to y. 2 into 3 is 6. 6 will be stored in x. Next variable is 4. 6 into 4, 24. 24 will be stored in x. Next variable is 5. 5 goes to y. 24 into 5 will be 120, and 120 will go to x, and that will be printed. So this is how the factorial of a number one-liner works, and this is how reduce works. Please understand that the first value in the iterable goes to x, the next value in the iterable goes to y, and then the cycle continues. Right here, there is no initializer value given, so whatever is the first value in the iterable will be considered for x, and the subsequent values will be considered for y. So this is a very interesting one-liner. So this is just the complement. Now I will test my understanding of the reduce function. Now because I am doing a multiplication here, if I give the initial value for x as 0, can you just pause for a while and then try to think what will be the answer? I hope you have paused this video for a while and thought about it. Because you gave initial value as 0, the factorial answer will be 0 as well, because our understanding of the reduce function says whatever initial value we gave here will be taken for x, and then the subsequent values will be taken one by one for y. So 1 into 0 will be 0, and 0 will be stored in x, and then 2 into 0 will be 0, 0 will be stored in x, and whatever value we take from the iterable, it will definitely go to y, and then it will multiply with 0, and answer will anyway be 0 only, right? That's the idea. But if you give the first value as 1, okay, and then find the factorial, it will give you 120 properly, right? So the idea is, when you are multiplying, the initial value of the accumulated value should be 1, so that the answer comes correctly. Only then if you multiply, the answer is properly calculated. Even if you don't give this initializer, it will take from the range, the first value in the range, which is an iterable, again, which generates a sequence. First value is 1, and that 1 goes to x. So I hope this is very clear. And these are two opposites. So here we are using this reduce function to find the sum of n numbers. Here we are using the reduce function to find the factorial. I hope you're able to understand the ideas so far. The first thing that we saw is a one-liner assignment. The second one, by using a slice construct, we are printing only some elements in a sequence. And then we reversed a simple string that we gave by using a Pythonic code. It's a simple one-liner, again using slice. And then using list comprehension, we found the square of numbers from 1 to 10 or any given range. Here we removed the duplicates that are given as an input by using the set. So this is a very famous interview question as well. Remove the duplicates. For beginners, they usually ask this question if they understood the idea of the set. And here I am just displaying the stocks of the company which are above a particular price in one line, or below a particular price in one line, and then sum of n numbers in a sequence, and then the product of numbers, which is the factorial of a given number, right? So let's see another very interesting interview question as well. This is a question that is sometimes asked in some product companies as well, that how do you reverse the words in a sentence in a single line. So Python is kind of iconic for such one-liners, which are very concise and also to the point, right? So let me tell you a sentence. This Python session is very interesting, right? This Python session is very interesting. So by reverse the words into a sentence, what I mean is I should get an output: interesting, very, is, session, Python, this. So I don't want to reverse the whole sentence, but I just want to reverse the individual words in the sentence, right? I just want to reverse the individual words in the sentence. So how do I do that? That can be done by using the idea interesting, very, is, session, Python, this. So you can see that the sentence has got reversed in terms of words. Yeah, how does this work? So it takes the string, this Python session is very interesting. It takes the string and then it reverses, just reverses the string, right? It picks the individual string, and then this reversed function just reverses the string in the sentence. So the reversed function considers the whole sentence completely, and then it reverses the string, right? This is very interesting, and then converts it to a list, and then I bring it back to a string by using the join function. So this is a very interesting one-liner to find out, to print the, right? This is a very interesting one-liner to print the string in the reverse order. Just reverse the words in a sentence, considering the whole sentence. So I hope you appreciated this idea of reversing the words in a string. So if you're coming from C++ or Java background, try writing this in a different language, and you will have a comparison for you to either appreciate or to find something interesting in Python, right? So this is very interesting. Again, very simple. Find the factors of numbers in the given range in a single line of Python code. Find the factors of 7 from 1 to 100. So it just by using list comprehension. So here this for loop generates the numbers from 1 to 100, and then the if loop checks if the numbers are when you divide by 7, if the mod 7 is equal to 0, which is finding out if the remainder is equal to 0 for this kind of for. So you can find a similarity between this list comprehension and the set builder notation in the set theory in mathematics. So you used to say set of all x for x greater than 10 less than 50, x is an element of natural numbers. So that kind of construct in set theory of mathematics you might recall. So here we are saying that for all x in the range of 1 to 100, and if x mod 7 double equal to 0, take such x and put it here, right? So this is the one-liner for printing the factors of 7 from 1 to 100. So you can also print the factors of 9. So you can change this as per your convenience, but the idea is to use a list comprehension using a for and an if construct. Now you can take this idea a little bit forward. You can take this idea forward and do a very interesting one-liner, right? Very interesting one-liner for printing the perfect numbers, because I have found factors of a number. So what is a perfect number? Find all the factors of a number except the same number. Suppose if you are finding factors of 6, it will be 1, 2 and 3. Don't count 6. So except that number, find all the factors of that number, add them. If you get the same number, then it is a perfect number. Let's take the example of 6, right? Let's take the example of 6. So the factors of 6 are 1, 2, 3. So if you add 1 plus 2 plus 3, you get 6. So similarly, if you take the number 28, the factors of 28 are 1, 2, 4, 7, 14. And if you add 1 plus 2 plus 4 plus 7 plus 14, you get 28. So 6 and 28 are perfect numbers. Similarly, how many perfect numbers are there till 10,000? So interestingly, even up to 10,000, you only have 4 perfect numbers: 6, 28, 496 and 8,128. So you have only 4 perfect numbers. So you use a for loop. So using 7 lines, you use a double for loop and double if loop to print this perfect numbers. And very interestingly, this whole thing of printing the perfect numbers can be done with a single line of Python code. So you can see there is a for loop here which goes through 10,000. And then here, what is interesting is, please watch this, for y in the range of 1 to p, and that p is taken from here, for y in the range of 1 to p, and if x mod y double equal to 0, right? If this condition is true, then sum all those numbers. What numbers? Take the p value from here and go in the range of 1 to p and consider them as y. So you have this value where the modulus is 0, right? and then you print if that modulus is equal to the given number, right? If that modulus is equal to the given number, then you consider that as a perfect number. So you can see that, yeah, you can see that I'm able to generate. So let me run that again. So you can see that I'm able to generate all the perfect numbers from 1 to 10,000, which I have generated by using a for loop over here. In 7 lines of code that I've used to generate the perfect numbers, I've used a single line here. So please try to understand, this for loop generates the numbers from 1 to 10,000, and then here this for loop generates, suppose if this number is 1000, so it will generate 1 to 999, and then the number divided by each number here, if it is 1000, so 1000 by 2, 1000 by 3, 1000 by 4, and on all that. So find all those factors and sum it. If that sum is equal to this number that you generated, p, then the number p is a perfect number. So that's what I'm adding to the list here. So here we are using a double for loop and a double if loop. So it is as detailed as it gets as far as the list comprehension is concerned. So I hope you are able to wrap your mind around this one-liner for perfect numbers. It's one of the iconic Python one-liners for generating perfect numbers, and I hope you appreciate this. Right, so the same idea can be used for generating prime numbers as well in 2 different ways. Now you can see that I'm generating prime numbers by using 2 for loops and then this if loop. So you can say that I'm generating prime numbers in the range from 1 to 100. So I have all these prime numbers, but you can see that I have done the same thing by using a for loop. This is somewhat similar to the perfect number example. I'm generating the x value here, and then I'm generating the y value here, which is the inner for loop here. I'm generating the y value. Suppose if this x value was 50, I will generate y value from 2 to 49. So it will be like 50 divided by 2, 50 divided by 3, 50 divided by 4, and so on. And if x mod y not equal to 0, if you are not able to divide any of these numbers in x, any number, so all of them should not divide. If all of them did not divide, then such a number x that you generated here becomes a prime number. Yeah, you generate the values of x here and you generate the values of y in this for loop, and then x mod y not equal to 0 for all such numbers generated in y. If that all condition is satisfied, then this x value is added to the list of prime numbers. So this is an excellent example to show the concise and the powerful constructs that are present in Python, the features of Python that help you to write beautiful Pythonic code. And this also helps you to understand the way in which the list comprehension can be used to make good looking code. So you can see that it generates the same numbers with the list comprehension one-liner. You can do the same job by using filter and lambda function. You can use the same idea of a list comprehension, but this time using the filter and the lambda function. So as you can see, I have these this for loop over here which generates the y value, and this range, this one generates the x value. So for example, I'm giving 100 here, and this range goes to this value here. So here I am generating the x, and then x mod y not equal to 0 for y in the range of 2 to x, right? And that is filtered. So it uses this filter. And what is the condition for the filter? Condition for the filter is all such divisions should not give a reminder, should not be equal to 0. If any one x mod y becomes 0, then that is not filtered. That is not filtered, right? So it is kind of the reverse way of how you did it with the double list comprehension here. So here this range produces the x, and this for loop produces the y, and x mod y, all such x mod y is very similar to what you did here. So this is a Pythonic one-liner, Pythonic code, a one-liner for generating the prime numbers, but by using the filter and the lambda function. So you can see that given input over here. Let me take the input. We got the range of prime numbers from 1 to 100 for all this, right? So the use of all and any function. So we have used a lot of built-in functions like sum, like all, like any. So we can also use wonderfully the any function. So this is a very interesting program that shows if any company is employing people below 16 years of age, any company is employing children, right? Any company is employing children. So you can actually check, you can see for X in companies, right? Companies is a dictionary, right? And then each one, this is the key and this is the value again. And again, this is a dictionary. So dictionary of dictionaries. So if anybody is employing people who are less than 9 years age, those companies are printed. So obviously the Frankfurt Cements here is employing, and Sports Utilities is employing. So these are imaginary fictional companies, they're not real. So just for the sake of program, we have written this way. So this is to find if a particular value is legal or illegal. We can use them. Say new cements. So this is a beautiful dictionary of dictionary program where you can find if New Cements, Sports Utilities, Great Industries, any of them are employing people who are below 9 years of age. So those will be printed. So if you can see, this is a for if any. So for companies in values. So this will go through each of them, and if any value is less than 9, it will print. So I hope you are able to appreciate the utility of this any built-in function in writing Pythonic code, in writing Python one-liners. So you also have this all built-in function for you have used this in prime numbers, and we have also used this concept of sum in perfect numbers. So the use of these simple built-in functions comes in handy for writing Pythonic code and for writing Python one-liners. This is very interesting that you can read this text. So you can also use the idea of, so if you had the word anonymous, then you have to print that. So you can see that the lambda functions are anonymous function, and the word anonymous has appeared, so it is true. So here the word anonymous has appeared, so it is true. So in the third string, the anonymous has not appeared, so it is false. So this kind of a thing. So that is why we say Python is very handy in natural language processing, in text finding, in text search, replace and all that. So you can see the power of Python in dealing with the processing of strings and words and finding if something has occurred. So you can see that if the word anonymous in S, right, where S is this text, right, where S is this text. So if the word anonymous has happened in this S, then you say it is true comma S, and this S is what is the text that you are passing. This is the text that you are passing to lambda. So if anonymous has happened, then this true and S, which is you print true and then write that particular string, and this text is the list or the iterable. So it will take one by one, right? And then if the word anonymous is not there, then you say false and then that particular string. So this kind of a thing is very helpful for writing Python code, Pythonic code for text matching, text search, text replace. It's very interesting to use such code for Pythonic one-liners, right? You can also do this way by using the simple list comprehension. So here I have used the lambda, but you can also use a simple list comprehension saying that if anonymous is here, then put it. If anonymous is not there, then you say false. So this is an example for writing Pythonic code one-liner in natural language processing in the beginning stages of NLP. And this is interesting as well. So you can use a particular file. You can use a particular file and then read by using this single line of code. For line in open, for using this single line of code, and then you can strip actually removes the trailing and the leading blanks, and then you can read the lines and print it one by one. So for doing nearly 6 lines of code here, you can substitute with a single line of Pythonic code or a Python one-liner for reading the file. So this is the interesting code that substitutes this 6 lines of code with 1 line of Pythonic code. And finally, Python can also be used with other libraries, right? For example, this is a typical code for finding out. The find is this code where you find the in letters Amazon, this code where wherever there is SQL you find it. So you can say a fully managed MySQL. So you have printed this, and then Postgres SQL, you also printed this. So why didn't you print anything before or after that? So that is where the idea of this comes into picture. So find Q minus 18. So it prints characters before SQL, 18 characters before SQL, and 18 characters. So you can see that it finds 18 characters before. So and then here you can say that it prints, there is Postgres SQL, there is an SQL here, and that is also printed here. So you can see that if the word SQL happens in this triple quoted string, then we have used this construct to print the characters which are before and after the occurring of SQL, before and after occurring of SQL. Right, let's see a quick overview of how to use matplotlib for a simple list. So this is considered as the heartbeat, and which also shows the cardiac cycle. So I'm using matplotlib pyplot library, which is again a one-liner. So if you give the cardiac cycle and you multiply it by 10, so you will be able to print the cycles. As you can see, the cycles are printed. So the cycles as per the values that are given here are printed in 1 line of code. So you can see by using this plot, you can use these complex libraries. You can use these data science and graphics libraries. There are many such one-liners. So as I told you in the beginning, writing Python one-liners opens you to these very rare libraries in data science, in web development, in AI. So you can get a hang of some of these libraries also if you get interested in Pythonic one-liners. So I hope you explore a lot of these Python one-liners. Please leave your comments below on things that you liked in this small course on Python one-liners. So I hope you liked it, and please do give some comments. Please comment below on any of the things that you would like to see further in Python one-liners. Thanks for watching.